For a while now, a debate has been going on if AI is taking our job or AI is not taking our job. Is a lot of talks here and there. At the end of the day, we can actually see that before we can actually conclude effectively on what's really happening, we have to project forward and we have to project backwards equally. Because there's a saying that say that in order for you to move at the future, you have to project backwards to look at the history. So, what exactly is AI doing? What exactly is it doing? It's a disruption, technological disruption. It's changing the way we do things, bringing out about efficiency and bringing about much more lighter productivity, thereby, making some jobs redundant and antiquated. Why? Because if AI, just a machine, can actually do a lot of things for us with the solid. It's as easy as saying it. We have seen a lot of ways how it has been impacting our life, impacting us as people, economically, and socially, and so many other ways. But then the truth remains that is it going to take over the whole thing? If you ask everybody, and everybody has their fears and opinions regarding to this issue. But then the truth lies that AI is just like every other revolution that we've had the past. It's just another revolution was actually happening right now. And either we like it or not, one tie is going to fire its level. At the end of the day, you know, after a while, we will start seeing, the right usage of this tool. And of course, we can actually say that we are still at the developmental stage in which every day in day out we're seeing no use application of this, of this particular technology. We are seeing it day in day out, it being extended to cover a whole lot of every aspect of our lives, and we're seeing it, it's actually going on, and we don't know how far it is going to go. But then the good thing is we are seeing how it's actually highly impactful and highly effective in terms of how we do our things every day. So what am I saying? Makes sense. This if for us to be able to project forward that AI is going to render a whole lot of people, a whole lot of jobs, a whole lot of profession useless, we have to look behind and see what has been happening. The first industrial revolution happened during the time of the mechanistic era, basically. So the first industrial revolution was the revolution of we bringing mechanical parts together and finding ways to use mechanical parts to make things easy for us. Then we moved on from that point to the point whereby we built new ways of communication, radio waves, and all sort of things, breakthrough. But before the radio waves comes the electricity. The electricity was a major breakthrough that came in at that time, and practically we can actually say that during the time when we newly discover the use of electricity. Now that's a new revolution on its own. Then we moved on to radio waves and all sort of communication ways and all these things. Think about the bridge communication, radio waves and rail and train and other things, brings about, marching, against, globalization, in other words, So the tech industrial revolution, which has to do with the use of computers and diodes and cryodes and cathodes, and then now we have semiconductors and also IC units, basically, and it keeps going. Now we have the microscopic nanotechnology, IC unit, in which we can actually say that these atoms can actually do a lot of things, But what am I trying to say in essence is we have been saying that this revolution has been going on based on our drive as humans, basically, because as humans, we're always driving forward to anything that brings about comfortability, anything that brings about efficiency. And the more we drive, the more we build and develop new technology, basically. But this AI is one of the major breakthroughs that we've seen all through our life. It's a major breakthrough, So, but then let's look at where we're coming from and where we are right now. So basically, we've seen that the technological revolution started from the mechanistic era to where we are right now, which is the AI revolution, basically artificial revolution, artificial intelligence, almost sort of technology, big data, and all those parts of technology, But then now, if we have to project backwards, the answer to if this new technology, if they came, is gonna wipe out every other person and makes every other person useless, then you can think about what would those people existing during the mechanistic era, what would they have been thinking? The moment machine was actually built. The first machines were built, to take over the production process in the factories. And these machines were not even automated. You are seeing a machine that's actually much more like operated by humans. You can imagine what would have been going on in their minds. And this machine, they can actually take their jobs and everything. There would have been some sort of revolution and fears and all these things. But then what I will say in the next step is, for each revolution, we are seeing that guys, some jobs are redundant and some new jobs are created. New positions created, new jobs created. Humans, we're still humans, and humans, we're still at the middle of the whole thing. The truth is, if AI was developed to serve humans for human needs, then AI will always need humans for it to operate effectively and efficiently. Of course, we can debate that this machine can actually learn from us and quickly evolve to understand humans to the point whereby you can now start having a technological deterministic society whereby AI will be dictating what we want, what we need, and stuff like that. But that will be hard. It will be hard. But then I don't know, because that is the point where I can't really, talk about. I think person we don't know. Nobody knows. But then if we have to get to that point whereby it would be the machine that will be determining what exactly we need to do, the trends and everything, our preferences, our choices, then that means AI will take over everything. But then as long as AI is meant to serve humans, then humans will always have a job, regardless of anything, of any of the technological infection. That's what I feel. And when it comes to the issue of professionalism, for every profession, it's not about you reading about what exactly it is. It's about the creativity that goes into the profession that makes it different, that makes the professional than the person that just read. The creativity and the experience that a lawyer would have is not the same as the one that somebody that read about legal stuff will have, when it comes to cases. Why? Because through experience, through knowledge, and through creativity, a professional can actually find different ways, a million ways to approach a situation. But the one that read about it can actually find one way. Of course, another way we can actually say in the future, we already have right now. We have legal chat box and stuff like that are dedicated to solve issues when it comes to it. But then the tennis, they're still lacking the human touch and the nuances that comes into play, when it comes to real issues. So for now, as we are at this point where we are, AI cannot adequately and effectively represent somebody at the court of law for now. And if we decide in the future to allow AIs to act as representatives of humans in the court of law, and then we can say probably there's a profession that can actually be rendered with redundant users. Fine, because we now have nations that are effective, cost effective, and have the higher chances of winning a court case. I'm just using that as an example. We have this debate going on in the creative world also, talking about how AI can do a better job than a designer in creative person. At the end of the day, that is different. Why? Because we are still using humans are still determining what exactly would be the trend for them. Of course, we can say AI can develop a generic design and generic art piece, but it's gonna be generic. There won't be anything around so surrounding it. Let's store it, buffer, to practical. So that's where we are right now. For me, I still think, based on the history, because like I said from the beginning, for us to project forward, we have to project backwards to understand what is happening, so we can actually project to know what's going to happen. If this is the fourth revolution, industrial revolution, that we are saying the history of man, then we can actually say that the same thing that happened in those first, second, and third revolution is the same as going to happen at the fourth revolution. If the first revolution, the ones that happened, and humans were rendered useless, that means there wouldn't have been the second revolution. And it wouldn't have continued to the third. But because humans were still useful, and humans were still making parts of the centerpiece, then there would still be the fourth revolution, which we're seeing right now. And if humans still matters, then there will still be a fifth revolution, which we're going to see in the future coming not far from now, because after a while we start seeing building a new thing. We'll start seeing a new thing happening, because with this knowledge, the vast knowledge that we have, this AIs, these machines have, we can actually now have much more breakthroughs faster than we used to have. So, I mean, yeah, the journey through Mars, through all the interplanetary, traveling, I think it's going to be possible very soon. Probably that might be a fifth revolution, but it's going to be possible. So, thank you. So if you are thinking about if AI is going to take your profession, all you just need to do is to understand, to start studying that machine itself, start studying all the tools that's being used, to execute. Because left to me, I see AI, artificial intelligence, as a tool, because that's what it is. It's another tool, extension of humans, but this time around, a sophisticated tool that will bring about much more breakthroughs. Thank you.